Well, today I'm very excited to have Dr. Kimberly Kirkpatrick with us, who's a University Distinguished Professor in Psychological Sciences. I'm Brad Behnke, the Associate Dean of Research for Health and Human Sciences. And today we're going to really talk about a unique opportunity for our faculty in our college to collaborate with a particular award that's a very powerful award that's here on campus, actually right over in Bluemont Hall, just not probably 100 feet from where I sit right now. And so I've asked Dr. Kirkpatrick to talk about the CNAP Award, the COBRA grant. And with that, please, Dr. Kirkpatrick.
Okay, great. Thank you for this opportunity. Excited to talk to you guys today. So I thought I'd give you an overview of our award so that you can kind of maybe start to imagine some opportunities for collaboration and for being able to connect more with us moving forward. So CNAP Center is Cognitive and Neurobiological Approaches to Plasticity, and we are funded by a COBRA Award, which is a Center of Biomedical Research Excellence Award. And these are very large, high impact awards. Our current award is $10.6 million for 5 years. And we're funded through the IDEA program, which is administered through the National Institute of General Medical Sciences. The program is designed to try to promote grant getting by institutions that historically have had lower NIH funding rates. We are in our 5th and final year of our phase 1, and we're currently working on our phase 2. And we are also eligible, if we get phase 2, to then go to a phase 3. So I want to talk to you today about potential opportunities for our phase 2 award. The goals of our program are really exciting. We have a big faculty development component in which we fund faculty, and we supply mentoring, training, and core facility access in order to promote people's research careers and their ability to get their own independent grants. And as a part of that piece, we have some major infrastructural investments that I'll tell you about in a moment, but we have some really exciting research cores that are available for individuals to use. And then we also are looking to grow thematic research in our area of cognitive and neuroplasticity. So what is that? Well, we actually fund research in a wide variety of domains, and many of these are actually areas that are of high relevance to your college. So fundamentally, we are looking to fund research that has to do with various diseases, disorders, and other conditions that are related to the brain. And that can include a wide gamut of different opportunities. This is not an exclusive list, but this is a list of areas that we have actually funded so far. And I think a number of these actually overlap with areas of interest in your college. And we are looking for research that does have a neuroscience element to it, as well as a cognitive and behavioral element to it. We have so far funded research that covers a really wide range of brain areas and circuits. Fundamentally, we really look to involve researchers who we think can connect to some of these different umbrella topics. This shows a map of our center as we currently stand in year 5. Our center is constantly evolving because we graduate people out and bring new people in, but this is what we're currently funding. So we do have 3 primary projects. 2 of these are for junior faculty, Heather Bailey in psychology and Thomas Mueller over in biology. And then we do have a senior faculty member, Dr. Mary Kane in psychology. And she is actually developing a new line of research to transform her career into a new direction. And these are a little bit larger grants that are typically 2 to 3 years. And then we have pilot grants that we fund annually. We put out a request for applications on these. And we are typically in a given year funding about 3 to 6 pilot grants. We currently have 4 of these. Right now, these are all junior faculty, 2 of them in psychology and 2 over in anatomy and physiology. And we are looking to fund grants really across campus. We also fund grants at other institutions. We funded awards at University of Kansas Medical Center, and at Wichita State University. And then for our infrastructure piece, we have 3 primary cores, and these are available for use without any user fees to anyone who connects with our center. So anybody who is funded by us automatically gets full free access to these cores. and also anyone who is interested in collaborating with our CNAP researchers. One of these cores is the behavioral neuroscience core, where we support cutting edge animal neuroscience research. We have both behavioral research elements and then neuroscience research elements. Those neuroscience elements include a surgical facility that was renovated as a part of our phase 1, in which we can do techniques such as optogenetics and chemogenetics. And then we have renovated wet laboratories and microscopy facilities in which we can support different brain assays. And then for our phase 2, we're planning to build a new electrophysiology core that will, I'm sorry, I apologize, I lost my voice. Sorry, I was on such a roll there.
So the when we look at the infrastructure, I was particularly excited when you talked about basically that the fees are waived in essence for individuals that are looking to collaborate. And I know that you've made a tremendous investment monetarily into facilities, core labs. I know that from my notes from previously, or from earlier this week, that in essence, the fees that are waived are amounting to roughly $400,000 per year, is what the grant in essence is covering. And so, you know, I think the fact that we have MRIs, I know you talked a little bit about in some of these different agreements. I would like to hear a little bit more about those with respect to this infrastructure.
Right, so we do provide in our cores, we have dedicated tech support. So if individuals need training in using a technique or just general research support, we can supply that in all of our cores. And so for all 3 of our primary cores, we do have that kind of dedicated staff and tech support. And as you say, we have about $400,000 a year that we pay to cover supplies, equipment and equipment maintenance, and staffing for those cores. And then we do also have agreements with other facilities to facilitate research in those. So one of them is our animal MRI NMR over in the chemistry department. That's a 14 Tesla MRI facility that supports high resolution imaging. And then we do also have an agreement with the human MRI at the Hoagland Imaging Center at University of Kansas Medical Center. And then to kind of round out discussion of our primary cores, we do have our human neuroscience, electroencephalography core, which can support both recording, and we're planning to also have transmagnetic stimulation added into that core. And then we also have our neuroinformatics core, which is located over in the BioCat facility, over in computer science and engineering. And we are building a new machine learning center as a part of that core. And then I should just mention that all of our grants are mentored, and we do seek out world-class mentors, and we pay for their fees centrally. So this provides a really great opportunity for investigators to connect with leaders in their field and to get that expert input on the development of their projects. Our mentors read manuscripts and grants as well to try to help increase, the quality and impact of the research that goes out from our center. And then this just shows some of our outcomes so far, to give you a snapshot of the productivity of our center. So this is summarizing our conference presentations, publications, and proposals and awards. Conference presentations and publications include both people that we directly fund as well as users of our course. And we can see so far we have supported 143 conference presentations and 44 publications. And we have seen a real increase in that over time as people's research has really got rolling. I think conference presentations got knocked down a little because of COVID. And then we also support a lot of proposals and awards. This table actually lists just purely proposals and awards where the leader is one of our funded faculty. And you can see that we've supported a total of 70 proposals for over $38 million in grant proposals that have gone out the door. And we've actually had 23 of those funded for a total of $4 million. So I think that this just kind of shows the power of our center to really be able to increase people's research productivity, to help people be able to write competitive proposals, and ultimately to help researchers get funded.
Well, this is phenomenal, Dr. Kirkpatrick. Could you go back to I believe the third slide where you had the different areas? I would like to ask you just a little clarification. This right here. Okay, so a lot of us in our college will focus on some of these diseases or these conditions, including stuff like cancer. And we know that there's a large neural component to it, but we don't have the expertise in the neuroscience field. We might say study obesity or the nutritional effects of obesity or the public health effects of obesity. Mm-hmm. So if we wanted to get involved in CNAP research or with this particular group, do you have collaborative teams, or could we run ideas through you as the director, or have a mentoring team to fill in those gaps? As we talked about earlier this week, that the most competitive grants with NIH, and this is an NIH award, are the interdisciplinary grants that really will focus on multiple aspects of a given condition. So could you speak to that? How could, if some of us do some more, say, qualitative type research in these fields, or if we do you require animal research, or cell culture research, or human research? What's the span of research, or the spectrum of research that falls within this?
Well, we just say, first of all, we do fund both animal research and human research. And on the human side, we can fund basic research and also clinical research at really any kind of stage of clinical trial. In terms of how someone could expand, I mean, that would be an ideal example where a pilot grant could be a perfect way to help stimulate them to expand into a new area. And our course can then be a facilitator for that. So our electroencephalography core is a great example of this. When we opened that core, we only had 3 researchers in the department who knew how to do EEG research. But our core, because it has the tech support, has been able to provide training for people who want to move into EEG. We also have a set of workshops that we support where people can get specialized training. And then we have a library of common cognitive tests that people do with EEG. So it makes it really easy if you don't know how to program a lot of these tasks. You know, we can kind of tweak things from our library. And then we have the tech support for assistance with data collection. So when you put all that together, you can see it becomes kind of easy for people to move into EEG. So we've actually seen a 3-fold increase in use, including a number of our graduate students who are now doing theses and dissertations with EEG, and they're from laboratories that don't do EEG research. So I think that kind of shows a really nice example of how someone could move into a new area. And I'd say that's true on our animal side as well. Obviously, it's a secure facility, so we do have to have some additional layers that we put in place there. But I think that's very feasible. And then I do want to really emphasize our neuroinformatics core, because I think NIH and NSF and other agencies are really wanting to see people bring in those advanced modeling techniques. And again, here too, you don't have to know how to do these techniques because we have technicians that can help you. So if that's something that you think would be beneficial to your research and could help move your research, into exciting new domains, then we can provide the support to try to help you do that.
Perfect. So in essence, the initial COVA grant is really focused at more tenure track faculty. But you also seem to have incredible opportunity for established faculty to retool their research if they want to go in a different way, or if they're interested in these areas. It seems like the opportunities there to enhance or potentially go in a different direction with their current research endeavors.
Yeah, one nice thing about our phase 2 is that the guidelines kind of relax in terms of who we can fund. So in phase 1, they really want the junior investigators, but in phase 2, particularly in our pilot grant program, we can really fund anyone at any stage of their career, as long as they fit into our mission.
Perfect. I guess to close up the awards, that when people apply for the pilot grants, could you talk a little bit about the level of funding associated with those, and that these are NIH grants? Even if you get a pilot grant, it goes on your curriculum vitae as an NIH grant, correct?
That is correct. And so that would mean that if you don't have a track record with NIH, but you want to apply for NIH grants, our pilot grant program would give you that, history of having NIH funding, which can help you then to get other NIH funding. In terms of the size of the awards, we have some kind of flexibility in terms of those. We can fund anything from a smaller seed grant, which will be typically in the $25,000 to $50,000 range. But we do sometimes put out calls for these larger developmental grants when we have the kind of extra funding to do so. And those can be up to $100,000 for 1 to 2 years, at $100,000 per year. So we currently right now have one developmental grant going. It's a 2-year, $100,000 per year. And then we have 3 $50,000 awards running right now that are 1-year awards.
Great. This is I'm just really excited about this opportunity.
Me
I guess
too.
we can finish up here. And if any of our faculty have questions, who would they contact?
Well, I think if you just have general questions about a program, you can contact me directly. But if you're interested in our cores, we do have core directors for those. So if you think you'd like to come and tour our cores or like to learn more about our cores, I could be a good initial contact, and then I can forward you on to who I think would be appropriate for you to talk to.
Perfect. Well, we'll close up there. Thank you very much for your time and really presenting this opportunity for our college and the K-State as a whole. Thank you for your work.
Okay, thank you very much.